6 hours into a complex install, drenched in sweat and laser-focused. I got blindsided. The client smiled and said, "Yeah, we're not going to pay you." Big mistake. What he didn't know. I was already planning the most deliciously simple revenge I'd ever pull off, and it would cost him thousands. If you've ever been taken for granted, cheated out of what you're owed, or treated like your time is worthless, this story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in, because today's revenge is clean, professional, and brutally satisfying. I used to work for a company that provided highly specialized manufacturing equipment. Think niche machines, complex installs, and very few people who actually understood how they worked. One of those clients? Let's call him Jake. Jake ran a small but busy manufacturing facility. I'd worked with him before. We weren't close, but he'd always been polite. After I left the company, I figured that was that, until I got a call from him one afternoon. "Hey, are you still doing installs? We've got a new unit in and another one acting up. Our guys can't figure it out. Can you help us out this weekend?" I told him I'd left that company. I didn't do installs anymore. But then he dangled the bait, "I'll pay you double your normal rate." Jake explained that the supplier had raised their installation prices, and his company just couldn't afford it. Instead, they'd opted to have their engineers install the equipment themselves using the included instructions. The problem? "These instructions are garbage," he said. "Our team's been staring at them for days. We're losing money just waiting." And truthfully, I believed him. The installation guides were notoriously vague, riddled with skipped steps and vague diagrams. It was practically a puzzle only the original engineers could solve. So I said yes. I gave up my weekend and drove down to his site, ready to help, not because I needed the money, but because I remembered what it felt like to be stuck and desperate. By hour 6, I was nearly done. I had my head buried in the wiring panel when Jake walked in, arms crossed, casual as ever. "Hey, yeah, listen. We're not going to be able to pay you. I'm really sorry. It's just not in the budget. But hey, our engineers can take it from here." Everything inside me went still. At first, I thought he was joking. When I saw the blank expression on his face, the complete lack of remorse, something in me snapped. My chest tightened. My hands clenched around my tools. My heartbeat started pounding in my ears. But I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I didn't even flinch. I just smiled and said, "Got it. I'll wrap up here." You see, there's a small, almost invisible, button inside these units. It puts the machine into test mode, a state used for maintenance, not operation. Once activated, the machine becomes nearly impossible to configure correctly, and here's the kicker, the manual doesn't mention it. It requires a pin or tool to reach. And there's no indication it's active, the machine just doesn't work. And guess what? Company policy says if the customer starts the install, support is off the table. So I clicked the button. I packed up my tools. And I left. Monday morning, I got the first call. Ignored it. By Wednesday, I had 16 missed calls. My voicemail was full. Texts, emails, even LinkedIn messages. Finally, I answered. Jake's voice came through the phone, panicked and sharp. "Where the hell have you been? This machine still isn't working. My engineers are losing their minds." I took a long breath. And said calmly, "Why is that my problem? You didn't want to pay me, remember?" Silence. Then. Okay. I'm sorry. If you can just come back and get it working, we'll work something out. But I wasn't in the mood for maybe deals anymore. "No. You're going to pay me £7,000 up front, or I'm not lifting a finger." He exploded. Swore at me. Hung up. The next day, my phone rang again. This time, Jake's voice was different. Defeated. Measured. All right. I'm sorry for how I acted. We'll pay you. Just, please fix it. I told him I needed the money in my account before I even started the car. A few hours later, ping. £7,000. Cleared. Verified. I drove down the next morning. Jake stood there waiting, a hollow look on his face. So, what's the issue? I didn't say a word. I reached into my pocket. Pulled out a small pin. Pressed a button hidden behind the front panel. Beep. Whir. Click. Machine online. Fully operational. Jake blinked. Wait, that's it? I nodded, packed up my tools, and walked away. 20 minutes. £7,000. No more weekends wasted. It wasn't about the money. It was about principle. About respect. Jake thought he could use me, squeeze me dry, and toss me aside. He forgot I wasn't just some technician, I was the guy who used to train the technicians. He underestimated me. And that tiny little button? That was karma, disguised as a maintenance feature. Some people only value you when you hit them where it hurts, their wallet. But respect isn't negotiable. And experience? That's what makes revenge clean, quiet, and absolutely brutal. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life revenge stories where the underdog wins big. Tell us in the comments, have you ever been stiffed after working your butt off? How did you get even? And remember, never mess with a professional problem solver.